Alright, welcome to War Groove. We've got an exciting game here today.
Now this is going to be the last one we do on quick play for a little while, because I want to show you guys some more advanced maps later. But for now, we need to cover the concepts of wall making, wall breaking, and what to do when you have a bit of a groove race. Now take a look at the map here. I'm playing Ragna, and Ragna has a very powerful groove, which is very good for quick play. You can engage on your opponent's army and deal lots of damage, and then sweep them with your troops. But my opponent is playing Caesar, and that's going to lead to some interesting scenarios. Now,
Caesar, as it happens, is one of the best commanders in the game. Top tier. In fact, a recent rating revealed that most players view Caesar as the top commander currently out, on par with Tenri. While the Groove of War competitive community views Caesar as more kind of second or third best commander, but still up there. Caesar's one of the best, no question. Now, the real question we must ask ourselves is, what is my opponent going to do? And since they are playing Caesar, the answer is clear. Treb spam! Caesar is terrifying with trebuchets. The reason being, you can move the trebuchet, and then use Caesar to activate the trebuchet, and then attack something. As long as you have a plethora of cheap units protecting your trebuchet, forming a wall, then the trebuchet cannot be attacked. Because think about it, if you attack into the trebuchet, you get hit by the trebuchet and lose the trade. Meanwhile, if you run away from the trebuchet, your opponent can inch forward and take your territory, and you lose the trade. And if enough time goes by, Caesar can just use Groove, move everything forward, and then kill you with the trebuchet. So, not a lot of great options where you're concerned as far as the trebuchet goes. But that's okay, that's alright. Because as player 1, we can also use trebuchet strategies. The real problem is Caesar will be able to keep Ragna at bay, and Ragna needs to dive in and charge her groove. As long as we get Ragna her powerful groove before Caesar gets too many trebuchets, we can dive into Caesar and wipe out the trebuchet before it can hurt us. Ragna will also get the frightening ability to move up here and then kind of jump at the opponent's stronghold. However, Caesar also gains some crazy win conditions with the ability to use very fast units and suddenly move them across the map, maybe to threaten our stronghold. So we've got to be a little bit careful in this match. So they're pretty much staying in tight formation, building pikes as one would expect. Nothing particularly fancy here. Did they miss a build on that Rax? No, I don't think so. I think that was Wagon down. Lots of wagons, 2 wagons. I'm going to avoid too many wagons. You might have seen in my last video up against Star Boykerin, they made too many wagons and lost. Well, in a recent game against them, I made too many wagons and lost. I guess they either learned from my video or on their own. They didn't make a single wagon and they kicked my butt. So wagons can be really powerful, but sometimes you don't need them. So, there's no right rule for everything. If I attack Caesar right now, this sword, they're in a position to surround me and I'll get trapped and die. So even though I want to attack them, I will not. I will instead just move out of their range slightly. And, if you want to attack me, don't be afraid of the possibility of getting trapped in my trebuchet. It's totally fine. You'll be safe, I promise. That is a lie. Alright, I want my treb as soon as possible to combat Caesar's treb, or maybe a knight, an alchemist, something. Alchemist is pretty strong on this stage, so I'm going to make one. But I'm going to make it from the far away barracks because it has a longer way to walk, and I've only got my 1 wagon. I'm going to keep making spears here because they're just so damn good. I don't want to spend too much gold too fast, because I want to get a treb ahead of my opponent who has 3 wagons. Oh my god, those wagons. Okay, as long as I have enough spears in the center, the wagons won't make that big of a difference. Because I have 1, and I'll be able to get troops to the center almost as rapidly. But another good use of the wagons, as we discussed last time, is rapid redeployment, the sudden ability to move your army across the map. I've got to be careful that at any given time my opponent can't suddenly charge me with Caesar. That could be kind of risky. Notice that even though I went first, Caesar's positioning kind of scared me off and they took the undergrowth here. Now they're kind of threatening my village, and I do not want to give Caesar a free shot at my village. Also, because there's a forest here and plains here, if I put Ragna here and Caesar goes in and attacks me, I'll be at a disadvantage. And these pikes are getting ready to threaten things off. I don't like that. He is a very powerful army that he's wagoned over here very quickly. So we're going to have to be smart about this. You know, maybe I should have moved this pike one less space this way, so the wagon could have been here, and then this pike could have been wagoned down even further. I don't know. And that's something that my opponent is doing, wagon chaining. But you know what? This is at 70 right now. This is at 70. I can heal off it if I need to. Let's get ready to attack Caesar if he goes in on us. Let's have our pikes perfectly positioned for an all-out attack if he goes in on us. Do I want to skip a build and make a Trebuchet? I really don't. My opponent can if I do. But we're about to fight and the Treb won't get there in time. I don't want to skip a build for this. Alright, given that we make 600 a turn, but I'm going to give Caesar the chance to take 100 gold from me in exchange for the ability to attack Caesar. See where I'm positioned? The pikes can't hit me. Just enough things can hit me that it won't be that bad, but only if Caesar hits me, otherwise he'll just be wasting his units. I'll be able to heal off this, or attack Caesar from the side if he stands there. That's why this is a good position. Alright, I think I'm going to bring down another infantry, because I need like one more of those, and another pike. And I'm going to put the wagon here. Alright, that's our turn. Alright, let's see what Caesar does. Notice our positioning here. We're out of range of the pikes. The swords can hit us, but that'll just hurt the swords and charge my groove, unless Caesar hits me. But if Caesar hits me, he has to completely commit and go in on me. Otherwise, I'll just be able to attack Caesar, like we were talking about before, why I couldn't go in on them over here. Just trying to think ahead a little bit. Now, since Caesar chose not to attack this village, it's going to tick up to 80% health, and Caesar won't be able to one-shot it next turn. That being said, I don't love this positioning. They've successfully stolen the underbrush over here from me. That means I'll be at a disadvantage if I attack into them. But it's also going to slow them down a bit trying to walk through the underbrush to attack me. So I don't think we're all that bad off right now. My opponent did rush that Trebuchet, missing a build. That way they'll get their Trebuchet to the front lines before I get mine there. That's fair, I chose not to do that, and now I'm paying the consequences. I didn't miss a build, but I lost the Trebuchet. That was a very good tempo play on their part. They missed a build, which will hurt them later, but they made a Trebuchet, which will help them now. Alright, I really want to go in on Caesar, but I'm afraid I'll die if I do. Really, I can get pike crit on one side and pike hit on another, and then hit by Caesar. I think that might be enough to kill me. So instead, I'm just going to very aggressively position my pikes to make life a little bit difficult if they decide to attack me. Even though, ooh, I could make a golem! Oh, that's tempting, but with Caesar and trebuchets, I could run into trouble making a golem. Plus, I'm missing that build, and we talked about that, that's bad. But on the other hand, I could make a golem, and I really, really want a golem. A golem is one of the best units in the game. It's just not great into this Caesar treb, but it has great attack potential. I've talked myself into it. We're going to go golem into treb. In the campaign, a golem is really the counter for trebuchet, but in reality that's not exactly true. It's a great counter for a golem if you're playing against the AI, who sucks and is going to walk a golem right into its range. But the thing is, a golem actually one-shots a treb. And a treb does not one-shot a golem. Look at the damage here, 60%. If you do 60% damage to a golem, it's at 40%, meaning its attack damage is now maxed. Realistically, if it's on plains or some decent terrain, you're going to get like half the golem's health with the trebuchet. Also, alchemist heals on golems are almost efficient. An alchemist heal costs 300 gold and heals 20% of a golem. That's worth about 200 and
40 gold. So at 240 gold or 300 gold heal, you're really only missing out on 60 gold. And if you heal other units, it's definitely worth it.
So because of that, there's a great synergy between golems and alchemists. Golems also have great speed, as does alchemists. So in a situation like this, you can counter treb with treb. I chose to go golem. Fast-moving units are very synergy with Ragna, who wants to charge her groove and jump in and then have all her units run in after her. It's very unlikely that your opponent is going to be foolish enough to charge a fully grooved Ragna unless they can really take out half your army so the counterattack won't kill them.
Alright, so this was our early game and setup. We chose to go Golem instead of Trebuchet against a Caesar. Now notice we've been very careful with the positioning so far to avoid a bad fight. But soon, a fight will be unavoidable. When that Treb gets here, we will have to go in on it and defend our village. So look forward to the next episode where we're going to go over walls and wall breakers. Stay tuned and welcome to War Cruise.